Watch me wait. Ta-da. Yeah. Ta-da. Hey.
You know,
I hope you're not recording this because I'm not doing it the right way. I'm really not doing it the right way.
there is this person who is called a fluffer.
What do they do?
They keep the people excited
How?
in between takes. See,
How?
of course, there has to be a karanja with sound and all of
Wait,
and
what's
all of the
the...
other things.
I want to know what the fluffer does. Like, do they...
See, they keep them excited.
Ah! You're lying. I had no idea.
I hear.
Fluffer. Where do you hear these things?
We'll research it.
Jimmy, you put the notebook here so we look like
Why
we're
am I
both
on
smart.
Instagram?
No, you
Oh,
just
sorry.
want to look like the smart one
Oh,
yourself.
sorry.
Go hard, go home. Go hard, go home. Go hard, go home.
Welcome back to the show, guys. Today, and this is a follow-up from what we had a discussion about last time, and this being episode 2. The first episode we spoke about ideas and how you, and those people who are in this space where they're generating ideas, thinking about ideas, taking the ideas to the world, and so on and so forth. And we sort of like, having been people who have been in that space and been surrounded by people who are in that space, we have had opinions, thoughts, and perspectives about it. And I think it was a fantastic discussion, which led to us having a conversation that is going to be the topic of today, which is a very important one, because yes, you have ideas, but there's this part where it depends on you, and the you part is usually impeded by this thing. There's this voice that comes to your head, and it's a voice that sometimes tells you this won't work, or you don't belong, and it's a voice that's yours that creates self-doubt. And I don't know whether this is a scientific word or the street word, but people have called it imposter syndrome. And that's the topic that we want to talk about today.
Yeah.
Imposter syndrome. That thing that comes to your head that always makes you sort of like doubt yourself.
Question
and
yourself,
Question
yeah.
so many things. And maybe just to even start it off, when I think about even this show that we're doing right now, historically, and I think over the years, I've always been the person who's behind the scenes. I've never been like at the forefront
yeah.
of anything. Three cameras, I don't know
But
what.
you're such a natural.
Oh, let's not even go there.
I'm
and
just
then-
giving you a compliment.
And then we
Gosh.
started having conversations, and we were like, yeah, we're going to have this thing with Chris. And then in my head, I'm like, wow, this is Chris. And you're this person who, whenever you say anything on camera, it comes out so naturally. And I don't know what. Like, for me, I of course, I had these moments where I'm asking myself, will this work? Will this not work?
Yeah.
Will people be asking themselves, who the hell is this? You're those pleasant people who videos that you do, people watch with a smile. Like,
Oh, wow.
you're those people who, when guys say, nice to meet you, it's actually nice to meet you. Me, it's nice to meet you
Why
so
are you
far.
making me blush on camera?
So I also had my own version of like imposter syndrome in this particular context. So
Like,
it's,
yeah.
yeah.
That's
So
real.
Yeah, so I don't know. Where do we start from this? I think one of the questions I wanted to ask is, like, where the hell does it come from?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like, even before, when I think of imposter syndrome, I personally learned the term like maybe 2 years ago. I didn't know what it was called, and I don't know if other people knew, but I didn't know. I knew the feeling.
Yeah.
I just didn't know the name. And when I knew the name, I was like, that sounds exactly like what I'm feeling, you know?
You're your own invader.
It's like you're imposing. You feel like you're imposing on whatever it is that you're doing. It's like you're not meant to be there.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are you an imposter? And you're like, in my mind sometimes I'm like, we have two voices, and I'm just like, one is telling me, why are you here? You're not supposed to be here. And the other one is like, okay, you know what? F off, shut up, you belong here,
Yeah.
And it's always like a constant battle.
Yeah.
Where is it from? Honestly, I don't know.
Like,
I
when
don't
did,
know.
Yeah, like, when did we stop? Because what is it? Is it that we don't trust ourselves? What is that thing? Because it's a thing that I have battled with. And I think, even to start it off, I feel like, to an extent, I believe that there is a version of it that is healthy. and there's a version of it that is completely unhealthy. So let me break it down.
Okay.
I don't want to call it, let me just use self-doubt as we in conversation. Too much of it will stop you from doing anything. The complete absence of it can lead you towards arrogance, and it may make you aloof. So I know people try and run away from this whole sort of like whatever that thing.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like we should be living in I think the way to operate around it is to know that it should not go away.
Or like creating a balance.
I feel like it's a balance and not so much the lack of complete existence of it. Because I don't know.
I'm still actually thinking about what you asked, like where did it come from? You know, and you think of, to be honest, it's like almost being a child. You know, when you're a child, you don't have any doubts about yourself, you know, because it's your parents. They tell you all these things. You're good, you're the best, all that. And then you grow up and you experience things. And then I think that's when you start doubting yourself. You start thinking, okay. And then you start meeting other people. And maybe you meet competitors, maybe people who are even doing better than you, who could be your friends.
In whose eyes? I know. It's not, I'm not even
in your own eyes. Okay, like in your own eyes, you see, maybe you have your own goals and then you see other people achieving them and you're not. So that instinctively makes you feel like you're not good enough. And then that's when the imposter syndrome starts. For me personally, that's how I'd say.
Do you think it's what people call self-esteem? Is it?
I don't think it's self-esteem.
There's a difference, right?
Yeah, because you see, you can still be successful and have imposter syndrome. Self-esteem affects your success, I think, because then self-esteem really breaks you down, like you're not able to do anything. Maybe self-esteem is the extreme version of imposter syndrome, the one that we're saying is too much, or the
low self-esteem.
Low self-esteem is having too much imposter syndrome,
or the lack of management of imposter syndrome.
Exactly, is low self-esteem. You know,
maybe going back to that part of childhood. I don't know. Sometimes I try to be. I'm very uncomfortable if I don't understand something. So I sat down and tried to break it down like a maths problem.
Yeah.
So there's a theory. Going back to that time, and I think going back to when we were kids, I remember during in school. Let's just even start there.
Yeah.
There always used to be this comment about, will it come in the test? Like if you're somming or if you're studying. Right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that thing made us be attached to, you're doing this to get this, right? So the only reason why you are going through whatever you're trying to listen to or learn something is because there's an A attached to the end.
Yes.
Now, in the school environment, it makes sense.
Okay.
But I think in the outside world, I don't think there's an A, because the A morphs.
Right. Yeah.
Because that thing that you're trying to reach, that is the result. Maybe let's use the example of icon, for example.
Yeah.
There was a time that A was making the first line.
Right.
But then you get there and then it morphs into the next thing.
Yes.
But when going back to that thing, I think we were hardwired to attach ourselves to the ability to see an end.
Okay.
And the lack of that ability to see an end always puts a problem statement in our minds. So in school we studied because at the end of it we want an A, not because we were getting anything out of the education, or because it was because we were attaching it to something.
Yeah.
And I think one of the challenges, and I think in the real world, that A does not exist. But we are so hardwired to trying to understand that I want to see this result, and then we don't want to do anything, and so we have this fear that result won't come out.
Right.
And that result sometimes is, we end up projecting it as thing that people have put on us. Like when I think about Jeff Bezos, did people put a KPI on him that if you're not the richest man in the world, you will be a failure?
Yeah.
But you see, that thing that comes to your head.
Yes.
Because I think what he did, he just started selling books, and he enjoyed that process. he got granular into that process and he continued iterating.
But are you trying? No, but by the statement you're saying, are you trying to say that Jeff Bezos doesn't have
imposter syndrome?
imposter syndrome?
I think he does, and I think it's leading to a point that I'm trying to make, which is, I think one of the solutions to imposter syndrome is practice.
Okay, so you keep working on it.
Yeah, like as I was saying, like sometimes I feel like that thing is based on a thing that we have placed in our minds that is a result that you think society has put on you, right?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody sat and said Jalango will be a failure if he's not the best radio presenter. But I don't think people sat down and said Flacco is a failure if he doesn't make the videos that he makes. I think the consistency of doing the thing kinda manages imposter syndrome in a sense. And it's that because I'm trying to boil down to what is confidence. I don't know.
But I think because especially with what you said, in school we're hardwired to go for the A and go for good grades.
Yeah.
Then it's gonna be impossible. I mean, school is when you're molding the child's mind, right? That's the time when kids are growing, and if that's all that's being put in their minds, of course, when they're done with school and they go into the real world, that's what they're still going to be thinking.
Yeah.
So I think honestly, with imposter syndrome, it's just something you have to actively know what it is, and then actively keep trying to fight it. You know, because I honestly feel like if we've all been through the same system. Then we're all going to have it at some point.
I think, everyone does have it.
I feel like it's better if you just think like, okay, you know what? It may come. Let me be prepared. So that when it does show up, you know what it is and you know how to go about it, you know? Just act like it's going to come at some point anyway.
So how the hell does it? How do we act on it?
I mean, I think different people have
dealt with it?
Personally, let me think of I don't even have to think so much. When it comes to imposter, I feel it's something I struggle with every day. Maybe not every single day, but a lot, you know? And even with the example you gave about, you know, this podcast, you know, it's so cool how for you, when I hear you say it, you're like, yeah, you know, for you were worried, but you were like, for Chris, it's going to be so easy. You're looking at me thinking it's going to be so easy. But in my head, I'm thinking the exact opposite. I'm thinking, oh my God, okay, I know Jimmy is like, you know, he has like a really big brain. He's always like, he's so smart. He's so this is going to be so easy for him. And then for me, I'm thinking, God, have you ever even done any podcast, anything? What are you even going to talk about business? Is your business even that good? Atta, what are you, like, who do you even employ? Like, you know, you start like, who are you to be telling anyone about business? You just sell clothes. Who are you? You know? So for me, like, even with this podcast, I've had that imposter syndrome. And what's helping me is sometimes just knowing that that's what it is. Knowing that it's just my mind and my expectations. Just knowing that my brain is trying to like come up with expectations that don't make sense or like targets that don't make sense. Like, you know I really have to like hone my brain, like focus and see what I've achieved. Look at what I've done. Believe that what I've done counts for something, and believe that I'm here speaking because there's something I've done right, you know, and I have to just keep looking for the positive and keep looking for, you know, like affirmations of myself, you know. So I think one of the things I'd say would work when you're trying to deal with imposter syndrome is really just trying to look at your successes, however small they may be. You know, it could be as easy as I'm alive, I'm healthy, you know, I have a support system around me. That's enough to say something, you know.
Is it the same with that thing about comparing yourself with only yourself? Like,
I think people should compare themselves to others to some extent. You see, it's the same thing where you say if it's too much,
it's toxic.
Exactly. Or if it's too little, you get like complacent. But I think there needs to be some comparison at some point. Like, you can't just chill and like, no, I'm the best, no comparison, no one touch me, you know.
There's a fine line between I know my worth and you full of shit.
Yeah. I think it's just the balance, as is anything in this world. I think it's just the balance. Like, if you're able to look at this problem and then experience it, but then still at the same time know how to motivate yourself. I think
Do you think?
I hope I'm making sense.
No, you are. You are. Because I think, okay, there's something you've said that sort of like I want to get into. And because you said, because at the end of the day, I think what we are saying is that it's a process.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that, essentially what I'm saying is to get over it is to have confidence, correct?
Yeah.
But confidence doesn't sit in
It's
an
not just
empty
that to be
space.
plucked,
Yeah. When you're saying I'm not feeling confident in something.
Let me
what are
go
you
get
not-
some confidence from the closet.
It doesn't sit on anything. I think
Yeah.
it sits on a process. Let me explain. If and let me use this example because that's the field we're in. If you're in the creative space, and you usually find people saying this, and I think over the years I've come to learn that creativity is not a feeling. It is a discipline.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
What am I saying? And when you boil it down to that point, you start seeing that yes, there is self-doubt, but let's say you are going to make a line. I'm using you as an example.
Yeah.
Produce a line from Icon and whatnot. There's that first sketch that you're going to do.
Yeah.
Daily sketches, which is not driven by I'm in the mood to, but the discipline of getting into that thing day by day makes it possible for you to get over the self-doubt.
True.
If you're a musician, make a song a day.
Yeah.
If you are a vlogger, you have to make a video a day.
What if you're a fluffer?
No, we are not going to. Yeah, because I feel like, okay, so at the end of the day, this overpowering fear is what makes people not do anything.
Yeah.
But I think fear is good because it makes you not complacent.
Yeah.
But at the same time, too much of it is prohibitive. Like you won't do nothing, you won't move.
True.
And so one of the things that I was trying to boil down to how to solve this problem is, as I was saying, if the only way to get out of and using the example of us as creative people is there's this thing that a lot of times we use to run away from doing things.
Yeah.
Because I think like sometimes the whole imposter syndrome thing is an excuse.
It's a glorified definition of fear.
It's sometimes I think it leads you to starting to say things like I'm gonna wait for the perfect timing. I'm gonna do I don't know what for anything.
Yeah. It's
but
not
I don't
the
know
time
whether
for me
there
right
is
now.
a really perfect timing.
No, there's none.
And that's what I was saying, like in our space, like for example in the creative world, I've always run away from this whole idea that creativity is a feeling. I feel like it is a discipline.
Yeah.
And this is what we're saying. If you're a musician, you write a song a day.
Okay.
And if you think about the great musicians that we know, they are not that way because they just sit and things come to them.
Yeah.
It's true. They're doing I'm a huge fan of Jay-Z and there's this documentary of his called Fade to Black. As it starts here, this monologue where he's saying he says something like luck is people think it's this mystical energy that goes sort of like bestowing people with happiness.
Luck?
That's what he says.
Okay.
And then he says, I think not. You make your own luck.
True.
But you see, the making of luck is in the doing things. Even this thing of niliangukia. I don't know whether really you angukia or it's because of the consistent doing.
You angukia because you are ready for it.
Yeah, you are ready.
Yeah.
The opportunity met the
Yeah,
preparation
exactly.
and everything. And I know these are
Exactly.
things that people say in success cases, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
So I think, so starting from that point, I think if we were to talk about imposter syndrome, we can't not talk about the issue of confidence.
Yeah.
Confidence doesn't sit by itself. It sits on something. And that something, in my head, the way I see it, is that it has to sit on a process.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that thing leads to you trusting yourself more.
Okay.
And I think when you think about trust, other than family, other than your mom who you were born trusting,
Yeah.
the people who you have trusted that are not family, you first trusted them kidogo.
It was a process.
Then you trusted them
Yeah.
a little bit more, and then you trusted them. And
Exactly.
then before you knew it, now you trust them and maybe there's even more.
Yeah.
It's the same with yourself. I feel like you kind of
You have to keep trusting yourself.
But to do that, you have to keep doing.
Yeah.
You have-
So that's the discipline.
You have to
I get
keep
it.
motion.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think.
I think that's a good way of looking at it, because then what it does is, instead of tackling the issue by sitting still and looking for a solution
And
waiting,
inspiration.
exactly, you tackle it by going and doing things over and over and over again, and doing what you know you're good at. If you know you're good at something, or whatever it is that's making you fear whatever you're trying to get into, if you know you're good at something else, just keep doing this thing. And that way you give yourself more and more confidence, and in turn, then you're able to trump the fear, I think.
So I think people shouldn't necessarily run away from it.
Mm-hmm.
I think people should work with it.
Yeah. Or just, for me, I'd say know that it's there.
And be comfortable with the fact that it's there.
That it's there, exactly.
In fact, I think one of the things is the embrace that the fear that you will suck, because I think you will suck at some point.
Oh, for sure.
The first things you did 3 years ago are not if you did something for over 3 years, the first time you did is not going to be there has to be. And I think that's our generational issue. We microwave everything, and we want
quick progress and quick results and quick,
I want the first vlog to be the best vlog. I want this to be the I don't know. I want the first song to be the best song.
And it'll never be that.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing for me is quantity over quality. It's something that we've had to learn the hard way.
Okay. You need to explain that to me. So how?
So let me give you an example. If this very show that we're doing, we can sit down and try and pull all the gimmicks to make this look cool.
The perfect. Yeah.
And it will drain us. Then on the flip side, there's these guys who will just take the camera with their phone, shoot something, do
100.
Do 100 videos in 3 months. You've done 2.
That's true.
They're doing 100 videos a month. Look at Jugush right now. He's Africa influencer something. The guy started doing things on the phone just like that. And I think that if you start somewhere and start thinking, this thing needs to have street tracking shots, it needs to have, I don't know. I'm not saying that there's a bad thing about quality. But I think, and especially the people who we're talking to, and I feel like the people we talk to are people who are in places where they're trying to start something new, or trying to take something to the world. Or
definitely.
At that stage, you need to move.
Yeah. Start moving.
And you need to do it more.
Yeah. And
the more you do it, the better it becomes.
It's true.
I don't see another.
And to be honest, even when I think about videos, as you're saying, all those B-roll, all those gimmicks, I feel like that's the easiest part. It's easier than the actual content and the actual stuff you're doing in the video. And you see, to get good at the things you're doing, whether it's speaking, comedy, whatever, that requires practice. There's no two ways about it. It requires you doing it over and over again. But once you get that pat down, once that is great, after 50, 100 videos, those gimmicks will come. All those things, you get people even sponsoring, to do that stuff for you.
Yeah.
I feel like all those things surrounding are just, it's nice fluff, around, but really focus on the actual thing, whether it's the speaking or the acting or,
or whatever.
Yeah. But
Can
I
I
like
ask
that.
this? What makes you uncomfortable?
Personally,
yeah,
I have a couple of things. An ill-fitting bra makes me very
I
uncomfortable.
wouldn't know anything about that.
No, but you mean in terms of
for you to come out and do something. What are those things that are trigger points that make you start feeling, this thing is not going to make it?
Yeah, I think for me, I get uncomfortable when I think I'm gonna be the only person at the center of attention. That's why this was easier for me, because I was like, Jimmy's there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When it's
You're still the center of attention.
No, okay. I mean, I get with all this, who's am I? But for me, when I know it's just me, it's just you, center of attention. That kind of freaks me out. That makes me really uncomfortable. I won't shy away from it because for me it's
And that's the most important thing.
I'll always, because it's something I've done. You see, I think also just having just already started a business when I didn't have a lot or I didn't have sort of hope, I think that already just made me learn so much about myself. And one of the biggest lessons I learned was, however uncomfortable something makes you, just do it, say yes, you'll figure it out. If it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good, you know? But just do it and then learn ukombele, like how it is. So that's something that I've had to learn over time. It wasn't automatically like instilled in me, you know?
And so maybe to say something around what you just said, because I feel like a lot of people in places where they are leading or starting out stuff, you don't know what's going to happen.
It's true.
Like, we try and act like we do.
Yeah.
But you
can't control
really
anything.
do not know what's going to happen. It's the only thing, and the examples we were using earlier of Amazon and all those places, I don't even think that what we use M-Pesa for today was visualized
intended
20 years ago. Like, it's but you see, motion creates learning, and learning creates progress, and progress creates success. And I think that's the only way to operate. I don't see another way in which life works. And unfortunately, we've been hardwired to know where we are going. I'm not saying you should just aimlessly move around, but I think there's direction.
Yeah.
But destination sometimes
it moves. Yeah.
Because you get to a certain point and then
it changes.
You get to a certain point, then it changes. So that thing you're fearing, and we're not saying this, I don't think we're having this conversation as people who have conquered it.
Yeah.
Like,
no, not at all.
I think we're having this conversation from a point of view of people who need to have this discussion and bring it to the forefront.
Yeah, because it's there. Because it's real.
I look at all of these mental health challenges that we're all having as a generation.
Yeah.
I look at all of this, and they're all tied to, are we going to be successful?
Or are we good enough?
Are we good enough? Are we going to do this?
Comparison.
And sometimes we try and not sort of like, to some extent, we don't want to talk about it because some people want to act macho. Like, those are not things that affect me. You know, like, I'm good, which is a lie.
Yes.
At the end of the day, this conversation is important not just for ourselves. It's a conversation that's important for society, and and especially for our generation.
It's
ideas
true.
that people are going to come up with. Sometimes they're not going to have. Maybe they will have. I know nobody says there's nothing new under the sun, but for as long as it depends on you, there will be some version of self-doubt. There will be some version of this is not good enough. But if that becomes the reason to stop, because I don't know what you think, but I feel like if you are looking for a reason to quit, you'll find it.
There'll always be a reason.
There is always going. Like this week this week has kicked my ass. Like,
really?
If there was a way of like saying,
I quit, done.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
But then what? Then, you know.
So what keeps you going, like, for you?
That's what keeps me going. That thing of, and then what?
Yeah.
I know, and I look at like you. I always, the fear of coming back to say, if I didn't stop,
right?
Where would we have been?
Right.
I think
that's the worst.
And it's dangerous also because you could be
you'll never
following
stop.
some fairy tales or whatever.
Also, you'll never stop.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I think it has come with age. There are those things that had to stop over time because you saw it didn't have an end. But,
yeah.
I think for me, that thing of motion, especially
keep
this
it moving.
year. This year, nothing made sense.
It's true. It's true.
Like, we woke up, it was May, and the whole damn place shut down.
Yeah.
And then here we are being told contracts cancelled and all of those things. It really didn't make sense.
Yes.
Like,
true.
it was, but then again, what was the option? Like, so we stop and then what?
Exactly. And at that point, even, as an entrepreneur, you're seeing everything stopping, but you're like, I can't stop. No, we're just okay. What are we doing?
I feel like you just, I don't know. You just have to go back audit,
Reassess,
back on us, and it's not easy.
It's not.
But you just have to kind of, I don't know, you kind of have to fight it. I think it's, if you signed up for a marathon and at the 40th minute you are tired as hell and you wanted to stop, I'm those people who would be like, but you signed up.
Yeah. And and you know the thing is, you're allowed to stop.
Yeah, but you're allowed to.
But you signed up.
Yeah, you signed up.
Did you sign up to stop?
Even if you're at a gym or something and you're supposed to do 15 reps and you're at the 8th one and you're feeling,
so tired.
This thing is not in Ukain.
Exactly.
You have to be like, and then what?
Yeah. And to be honest, even in life, there's no gun to your head.
Yeah.
No one is saying at you, if you stop, you can't stop, there's no gun to your head.
Exactly.
It's literally up to you to decide, am I stopping? Am I going to be that stopping person?
Yep.
And you're like, no, let's keep it pushing.
I think that's the end of it then.
To keeping it pushing.
To keeping it pushing. Awesome.